Hello and welcome back, all my friends and fam. It's such a pleasure to be back here. This is the next segment of It's So Far Out, It's In, Thy Masterpiece of Thyself. And what we'll be covering on this segment is how God or the universe, existence works in mysterious ways. Yes, there is ways to know it if you have the ears to hear and the eyes to see. And these ways of knowing on how God or existence operates is through, yes, gematria or gematria, also known more commonly as numerology, astrology, and astrotheology. It encompasses all of it. And that is exactly what will be spoken of in this segment of It's So Far Out, It's In, Thy Masterpiece of Thyself. All of these holy sciences that I've just mentioned are basically just roadmaps, esoteric roadmaps, pointing within. When one knows these holy sciences, one knows how God, the universe, thyself operates. And like I said, it is the ultimate science. I mean, when you know this science, you can diagnose any illness and know the cure. And it's all about knowing now, fixed knowing. Not just maybe, believe, doubt, hope, faith. None of that. No more. That's old news. That's bye-byes. And from now onwards, it's only know. Know thyself. Now, knowing the perceptual understanding of numbers and letters, they're one and the same. Numbers are just there as labels, like you put a label on any product. It's just there to differentiate each vibration, because everything and all is vibration. So these letters or numbers are spells. They all have a negative and positive attributes to each one of them. And the whole point is being in a neutral space. But of course, there is a point to separate the wheat from the chaff. So knowing this holy science is obviously an indispensable tool for accelerating our conscious awareness, self-developmental, progressive conscious awareness to evolve at a quicker rate of speed, and therefore knowing thyself, which is knowing God, which is knowing light. I know and see numerology as a bunch of cosmic ingredients per se for knowing the cosmic recipe. But first you got to know the ingredients. And each number is just a way to differentiate each vibration. Because, like as I said, each vibration has its own quality value to it, its own attributes. And the point of this whole cosmic recipe is to integrate all of them within yourself and being that way. That's when one ascends to mastery. And throughout this video, I will be explaining each individual vibration, number, letter, same difference, same. And I will also be explaining the titles and the keynotes and meanings of each vibration. And I will also dip into what is known as lexigrams, or more commonly known as anagrams. So it all intermingles together. So yes. Beginning with the compound numbers, which are double-digit numbers, they represent our um, destiny, journey, I prefer to use. And the single-digit numbers are how people recognize you, or see you, or know you. And I will be going through that very clearly, and I will be putting out there many examples of all of this wonderful holy science that every single person on this planet should already know, but of course it's not taught in the, you know, crazy institutions. And what I mean by that is, you know, your colleges, universities, those places are institutions. They literally, you know, institutionalize you and indoctrinate you with only so much knowledge, but not the real knowledge. It's all basically half-truths and full lies. And you know, we don't want to be, you know, halfway in the light or just totally dumbed down. We all want to know and become this holy science from moment to moment to every day, forever and ever. Now, all of the single-digit numbers from 0 to 9 are comprised in all other larger numbers, of course. And so let's begin with the first number, which is 0. And yes, 0 is a number. Buddha, known as Siddhartha, 2,500 years ago, considered 0 a number. In a way, you could look at it as part number and part amplifier. Because as we know, when you add a 0 to any number from 1 to 9, it becomes bigger, a bigger vibration. It's an amplifier. It's exactly what 0 is. It just makes each number that much more potent. Okay, it's like, you know, you make $300. Yeah, you got 2 zeros there. That's 2 amplifiers. Add more zeros. Of course, we all like to see that when it comes to money. And I'll get that into that too, as far as this whole BS trap money system that's going to be ousted out, and bringing in a system that is only based on the attributes of every individual. You want to act like a scumbag, you don't get attributable credit. You wanna, basically the system will be based on everything you do good for thyself and others. Same difference, because we're all one. Yes, we're divided as each individual units of light and beings, but we're all one. As you look at how the nature of bees and ants work together, they work in unison. They don't create division and borders and all this stuff. They work as a hive, like a beehive. And that is exactly where humanity is evolving to. Now on to number one. Yes, people say, number one is the loneliest number. But really, it means all one. In, ALLONE, all one. Or you could say the word alone. It's the loneliest number. It's both. ALONE is alone. You can also refer to it as, or know it as, all one. And everything reverts, all these other numbers revert back to one. Even though they look and seem separate, it's all one. One represents the instructor, the initiator. It is the teacher. It is the place of heaven. It is, in astrology, it is the place of Aries that begins on the 21st of March. And of course, Aries, number one, equals, or the planet it represents, is Mars. Also, Scorpio in the same sort of way, but the other side of the other end of our 7 chakra system, they both have very similar. They're both very similar vibrations. Of course, Scorpio represents the lower natures, but like I said a bit earlier, every vibration, every number, which is a vibration, has a positive and negative. It's up to each and every one of us, because we all have a chance and a choice. For we have no choice but to have chance and choice, to either be on the dark side of nature or the positive side of nature. That's why that oil from the sacral part of our bodies that ascends to the place of heaven, from Scorpio to Aries, and they're both represented by the colors red for Scorpio, like blood red. Literally, that's where the menstrual, the cycle and the monthly period happens. Blood red. And then the top of the head, which is the fontanelle at the top of the head, the crown chakra, is ultraviolet colored. That's the spiritual fire, or even going to ether. Oh, and before I forget, if there's any holes of this holy science that I'm not, explaining completely, please always, all my friends, fill in these holes for me, okay? Well, we're all in this together. We all work together, okay? So anyway, number one, as I've said, represents the planet Aries, the place of the Christ. which is in the top of the head, or the cerebrum. You can even call it the pineal gland. And number 1 represents creativity, protection, benevolence. It is the number of origin, original action, the initiating, as I've said. And within the head, the place of Christ, conscious awareness, is what I call the pineal gland is another heart. It has the highest, as far as that small of an organ, it has the highest blood flow volume than any other organ in the body, besides our heart and our chest. So the pineal gland is the heart of the brain. Okay? And in order to have the marriage between the heart in our chest and the heart in our brain, as I've called the pineal gland, you have to traverse that yellow brick road and ascend past that to get to the Emerald City, which is the color, the solar plexus is yellow. That's why I called it the yellow brick road. That's the place of emotion, but you want to turn that into motion, because too much emotion can be too much stress, psychologically, physically, all that. So yes, we do have our times, we traverse that yellow brick road, the solar plexus, into our heart and our chest. And then once we ignite the heart in our chest, boom, we get direct access to the heart and our mind and our brain, the pineal gland, the water gate, the water door, whatever you want to, label it as. The other numbers that are 1 numbers, of course, are 10, 19, 28. Just sticking with the calendar, the typical calendar. Though in order to get to that number 1 vibration that increases 1,000-fold in vibration up in the place of the Christ awareness in the head, one, like I said, has to ignite that green light, which is the heart. That's the color of the heart chakra. So you have to, that's the green light to go. Boom, right up to the heavens, the ultraviolet place of the Christ awareness in the head and beyond. Number 1 vibration people, what I mean by that is, if they're an Aries, in the Aries sign, or have a lot of Aries in their chart, in their astrology chart, and also have their name that comes out to 1, those people really have, the attributes of the 1 vibration. Now, what are the attributes of this Aries 1 vibration? Well, typically these people possess a very strong sense of self-worth and are marked with a dislike for criticism. But I bet, with all these vibrations, you can be this vibration, we're all the vibrations, but in increments. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, just like a little dash of this, little dash of this ingredient. So A one person, demands and usually gets respect. Um, it will insist on organizing and controlling everything and everyone around them. And a lot of people, on other levels of spiritual growth will usually always look at the number one person and, argue with them and, you know, try to get them to go their way. But the one person, the one vibration person is very fixed, especially, hopefully, they're very, intelligent and balanced. Um, and, the other vibration people, different signs, different numerical vibrations, they'll argue and argue till they turn blue in the face to the typical one vibration person or Aries, same difference. And but they always, the other people vibrations that other people are attuned to will always succumb to the realization, not always, but much of the time, will realize that the person that is influenced by the one vibration is usually always right. Usually right. Let's put it that way. The gifts that the one vibration person is endowed with is the gifts of almost effortless inventiveness, creativity, and very, very original. Very original. And these people are quite definite in their views, can be stubborn. Of course, said, it's a fixed vibration. So yes, stubborn, yeah. That factor is there. And these people also dislike restraint and they must feel free, unencumbered by any shackles whatsoever, in any way, shape, or form. Also, they will almost always rise to some position of authority in whatever they undertake or intertake. Otherwise, they'll pout in a corner, nursing a bruised ego and frustrated ambitions. Um, they insist on being looked up at as, as their best friend, their number one friend, number one relative, number one coworker, the boss, basically, the big boss. Because that's what, hey, the place of the Christ awareness doesn't get a bigger boss than that. They are also known to root for the underdog, protect the weak, defend the helpless, and take on many burdens as long as the others will you know, do as he or she does. They usually know everything better than most. And they don't, the whole thing about opinions and all that, that's like out the door. When a balanced Aries or one influence person, when they speak, it's usually not based on opinions. Like I said, if they're balanced, it's usually always based on knowings, proofs, and not half proofs. None of that. They just lay it out all on the table, like it or not. Alrighty, that's a good bit of the number one for now. Now on to number two, vibration. Number 2 represents the sign Taurus, like the two horns. Um, it is also its exalted sign in Hinduism is is the the bull, the Taurus. But 2 has also been connected with is the Cancerian sign, Cancer sign and Taurus. It's basically the same. The In Hinduism, the Cancer or Taurus is the exaltation of Cancer. It's the same thing. It's just in Hinduism. Anywho, it's like, in the bull, you got the two horns, and then, in the crab, you got the two pincers, pinch ya. And two, the two usually is represented by the moon, and it represents also the breasts. Its attributes are extreme imagination, sensitivity, um, you know, childbirth, dreams, very caring, very caring vibration. It's the nurturing vibration. And this vibration, as far as the physical features, represents the face. Typically, they're very beautiful, physically beautiful people in the facial area, beautiful lips, uh, beautiful long necks, especially in women, beautiful lips and necks and eyes. So, mainly the whole facial area. And the numbers, the compound numbers, from 2 onward that represent 2 vibration are, of course, 11, 20, and 29, within the calendar. People who are very influenced by the 2 vibration, whether it's in their name quite a bit or in their astrology chart, these people are stamped with a distinct imprint of unlocking karma, and though just to retrack again and go over again, the place of the Christ, Aries, that's the ram. That the animal is the ram. That's number 1. That the planet it represents is Mars. The second, number 2, has the correlation with the bull and the crab, the Taurus and Cancer. But it's actually number 2 is Taurus. It is the bull. Okay. Alrighty, not a big deal. Just another little bit of a retract back to the place of the Christ, the Aries, the ram, and the head, the cerebrum. I said it was uh, the ram is fixed, Aries is fixed. Yes, in a way it is, but actually it is under the cardinal. It is in the cardinal energy force. Um, but it does very much seem like a fixed vibration. Okay, so it's cardinal, but very similar, self-similar to a fixed vibration. All right, and then The second, number 2, as I've said, Taurus, which represents the face, that's a fixed sign. So it's cardinal, up in the head, the ram, Aries, that's cardinal, self-similar, kind of like fixed, but then Taurus, number 2 vibration, which represents the facial area, that's fixed. That is a fixed earth element. And as I've said, in the head, the place of the Christ, the ram, that's fire. So fire, Aries, ram, Mars, in the head, place of Christ, number 1, it's cardinal. The face, number 2, the bull, that's fixed. That's fixed. That's earth element. So got fire in the head, earth, fire's number 1, 2, earth element. Just to mention, my friends, this is mainly going to be just a rough recording of the knowledge that I have to give to all. My mind has been on a trillion things. You know, my mom's in the hospital right now. There's just so many things on my mind. So, like I said, this is just a very rough. You know, all my thoughts right now are not exactly organized as I'd like them to be. So I know you will, as friends and listeners, be patient. You know, if I have to retract on what I've said, I'm going to be making other videos, and I will have it perfected. Just right now, actually, this whole year, this entire year has been about every extreme, positive and, you know, so-called negative. So just bear in there with me, and we'll all get through this. Alrighty. The 2 of Taurus represents I guess you could say, a feminine essence, compassion. It vibrates to the planet Venus. I know I said the moon because the moon goes with Cancer, and I've already said that Cancer and Taurus basically very, you know, self-similar. If you're a Cancerian in Hinduism, like I said, Taurus is the exaltation sign, you know, self-similar as Cancer. But okay, Taurus is 2 though. So as I said, it represents a feminine essence, you know, compassion, vibrates to the planet Venus, and I always hear these, you know, astrologers and everything always talking about, well, this, you know, this or that will bring wealth into your life and money. I don't like using the word money because, I mean, yeah, I guess it does attract to those people more than other types of vibrations, but I like to look at it more as like richness and heart attraction, or the ambiance of the person's vibration. Those those people, you know, Tauruses and and of that nature, they do attract um, a lot of richness and wealth in the heart, and yes, materialistically as well. But I don't really like, you know, to focus so much on that. I like to go with the heart richness, you know, richness in the heart, and thoughts, words, and actions, you know, the Trinity. Now on to number 3. Number 3, the sign that is represented by in the real actual calendar and corresponding with the Holy Land, which is our bodies. Our bodies are the microcosm of the macrocosm. As above, so below, as below, so above. Back to Gemini. Gemini is ruled by 3, the 3 vibration. And Gemini represents, some people say the shoulders, the arms, the hands, or even the lungs. Internally, I would say, the lungs, yeah. Because what is Gemini known as far as elements? It's the air element. Okay? So far we got the Ram, Aries, the place of heaven up in the head, the brain, the cerebrum. That's fire, ether, the facial, Venus, Taurus. That's earth. That's the 2. 1, 2. And then 3, that's air, representing the body parts of the arms or the hands, or in the internal organs is the lungs. And these people are, as you know, are very much known to be non-stop talkers. Oh, I mean, I don't mind. As long as they're talking about stuff that has, a lot of goods in it, a lot of, quality info. But you get those 3 types, Gemini types that are just rambling on about, you know, worldly things that are just not essential to the growth of our conscious awareness. Those people, I'm sorry, I've literally ran away from them. I just run away. But this vibration corresponds to the planet Jupiter, and like I said, physically it's the arms, and you can even tell with typical Geminis. They even, the saying how they talk with their hands. People who talk with their hands. Most of the time, those people will be Geminis, or they will have a lot of 3 vibration within their astrology chart or in the numerology of their name or their birth number vibrations. Like people born on the 3rd or the 12th or the 21st, all those compound numbers that reduce to a 3. You know, Gemini represents, communication quite clearly, movement, and they're very versatile. They can adapt. I'd say out of any sign, Gemini can most adapt better to any other situations, whether it's, weather, different weather climates, whatever it is. They usually adapt to anything better than most other signs, vibrational signs. Let's just call it vibes from I guess from now. A person that has a lot or of this vibration, the 3 vibration, they are Geminis are naturally very good, have a natural knack at selling things, very, very acute imaginations, very good at radio hosts, um, writing, authors. Many authors are Geminis. Um, that's their forte in those fields of practice or of being. And yes, I Didn't mention, of course, the sign of Gemini is the twins, or as I like to call the pillars of Hercules. Yeah, like the two arms, as physically represented, as most people say. And they talk with them hands. Oh boy, can they talk with them hands. uh, Geminis are also probably I would say the most curious vibration sign that there is. Very curious. They do possess a great deal of natural charm and an innate courtesy for others. Very, very quick to spot out mistakes and correct them. They'll, they won't hesitate to point any of these things out. And especially, out of any sign, I would say change, besides, I guess, very close to Aquarius, change for them is a must. I mean, that's natural to them. Change, just they don't mind that at all, because the universe is their home. you know, and they just change like the wind. It's that's the other thing I don't think I mentioned. Gemini, yeah, I did mention it, is air. So there we got fire up in the head. It's the Ram, Aries, Mars. Number two is Taurus, Venus. Uh, the facial area, the face, the two horns. It's two, and that's Earth. And third, three, Gemini, air. Yes, some of them, yeah. So, certain type of unbalanced ones, Geminis, and some of the air signs can seem quite literally airheaded, flighty. So I think that get what I said about Gemini, number three, uh, pretty much encompasses that vibration very well. You know, I could go further and further, but still in time zones here. All right, on to four. Four vibration. Four corresponds to the chest area of the body, okay? Or the breasts. Chests for men, same difference. That is the nurturing. That's the mother vibration. Cancer vibration. That's the mother. That's the real, I know I was relating that to the face with Taurus because it does relate in Hinduism. Cancerian relates to the Taurus. Anyway, we won't get into that. But anyway, we're on to four now. So four is the Cancer vibration, Cancerian vibration. And that's another thing, y'all. If someone can answer me that, you know, who or what came up with that word cancer? I mean, we all know that's a disease, but just wondering, you know, why couldn't it have been any other name? So, besides that, Cancerian 4 vibration represents the chest or breast, nurturing, mother's milk. Um, a lot of which I've been through personally in my life with certain Cancerian people, yeah, even as myself, um, can be too mothering, too caring. That mothering turns into smothering, you know? That defeats the whole purpose of that nurturing nature of the Cancerian type person. And those are people that usually that have four vibrations in the numerology of their name or birth, whatnot. And yes, this is Cancer. Cancer is a cardinal sign. Back to another cardinal sign, and it's the house. It's the house. Like the number four, almost. You know, you can look at it as like a house. It is. That's a part of the essence nature of Cancerians is to make you feel at home. As Linda Goodman calls it, it's the chicken soup vibration. Or try not to eat chickens, but you know what I mean. It's the consoling, the nurturing vibration. Like if you have a cold, the Cancerian person or the person most influenced by the four vibration will always be the first one there to help you, nurture you through your cold, your flu, or your injury, whatever it is. So, and the planet that Cancer is, or the celestial body that Cancer is ruled by is the moon. That's the moon. That's our moon. And the silver moon, the silvery moon. You know. Yeah, the personality of the run-of-the-mill Cancerian type usually always is most closest to their mother, and they actually usually live close to their mother throughout their lives because they have a very deep connection with that mother, you know, vibration because they are themselves. And yes, they could very well smother each other. Um, Happens a lot. I'm an example of it. Um, and also, Cancerian 4 vibration people are very attracted to, you know, all the mysteries of the moon and esoteric subjects. You know, usually secretly they are. They don't talk about it very much to too many people, except the people that they know that have an interest in it and know that they can console within these, you know, certain people that are already in it or are open to it, you know. And yeah, and of course, Cancerians, that's that's water element, water. Yes, and they're always they're very known to you know, it's the place of the chest or the breast where the nurturing waters from the breast come out, the milk, mother's milk. You know, that's the ultimate nourishment for the baby. And that's their and the tears, you know, as far as all the vibrations and signs, cancers are most likely to cry at the drop of a hat more than others, you know. Okay, that should do it for the four vibration connected with which is the Cancerian vibration. Now on to five. Five vibration, which corresponds to Leo, the Leo sign. Leo, the lion heart. That's the heart. That's the bridge, the green bridge. See, the three lower chakras, there's the three lower chakras, which I call the three functions of consciousness, or the three lower functions of consciousness, and then there's the three upper realms of consciousness. But the heart is the Emerald City. The I call it the Green Bridge. You gotta walk across that in order to ascend to the three higher realms, and then to the place of the Christ, the Ram. And by the way, this holy science from within and also without, as above, so below,